What's going on, guys? It's John here from Hot Take Hockey to give you week 2 of our Hot Take Hockey trade proposals that I bring from the internet. And we're going to start in hot with some realistic trade rumors that actually come from good quality sources. So Sean Shapiro of The Athletics, Dallas would be willing to include Esa Lindell in a trade for William Nylander if the Maple Leafs were looking to move him. The Stars could really use a top 6 forward. The starting asking price for Panarin for the Boston Bruins with a contract extension in place would likely be McAvoy and DeBrusk. That is insane. If that's even close to true, I think that is so out there. The Bruins should hang up the phone right when they even mention McAvoy, in my opinion. I think McAvoy is going to be definitely a number 1 defenseman. So even for Panarin, I don't think that's a great deal. Obviously, maybe straight up, then we're talking adding Jake DeBrusk is just silly. Slapshot Hockey proposes that the Colorado Avalanche trade Erik Johnson to Toronto for Nylander, Hyman, and a draft pick. Slapshot Hockey, thank you for the comment, but I have to say that's way too much for Erik Johnson. In my opinion, I don't even think that's a fair trade. Erik Johnson straight up for Nylander. Nylander for Johnson could easily be a haul for Larson. Obviously, Nylander's never going to be as good of a player as Hull, in my opinion. But Erik Johnson is not the guy that you put your eggs in for. And just adding Hyman and those pieces is a little bit ridiculous for me. Wolf Digger with the comment says they should trade Matthews and Nylander for McDavid. This was on the hypothetical McDavid trade video that he left the comment. So I appreciate it. But it's a huge hot take. And not only are the Oilers not going to trade McDavid, the Leafs wouldn't trade both Matthews and Nylander to get McDavid, because I do believe Dubas and Toronto value Matthews as much as Edmonton values McDavid, but I will say McDavid is obviously the better player. Canucks trading goaltender DiPietro for defenseman Fabro from Nashville. Right-handed defenseman, played for Team Canada World Juniors. DiPietro looks like he will be a starting goaltender. In terms of fit, Nashville needs another guy to help out UC Saros, so maybe there's a fit there, but Vancouver doesn't really have goaltending in general, but Vancouver also would really like to add to their young defensive core. A few Oilers trades here. Marchessault for Lucic and a B prospect. Smith and a 3rd-round pick for Strome. Parayko for Yamamoto. Benning, a 1st. And Nylander for Larson Kudrula. Is this guy kidding me? Marchessault for Lucic? Lucic, who's making $6 million, is doing nothing for the Oilers? The Smith-Strome deal is not horrible, but I don't see the fit. And the return for Parayko is doesn't scream a good return. And Nylander, are you joking me? You're going to flip Larson back to get your top forward after you gave up your forward already? No thanks. Here from AO99 says Brendan Saad for Louis Eriksson and a 2nd-round pick. Not a chance. The Blackhawks traded Panarin for Brandon Saad. They're going to give an opportunity for this guy to do well. There's no chance they trade him for Louis Eriksson, even if there's a 2nd included. This is from a Flames fan, I believe, Franchise Billy. He believes that Mark Giordano is worth a 1st-round pick in Shea Theodore. No chance. Shea Theodore's an up-and-coming. Giordano's past his peak. And adding a 1st-round pick is outright ridiculous. There's no way that trade goes down. A Jungle Beat Fire Dorian says Puljujarvi Sekera, a 1st and 2nd for Mark Stone. Don't think Ottawa should do this, and I think this might be an Ottawa fan. It's Stone. If you can bring Stone in long term and keep him in Ottawa, that's the plan. You don't want to be paying him a lot, but you also don't want to be giving him away for really risky pieces. Puljujarvi is no guaranteed, and a 1st-round pick for Edmonton is no guaranteed as well. So especially I would consider Edmonton learning their lesson from a team like Ottawa and protecting their 1st-round pick as well. From Top Shelf Slapper says Shattenkirk for Saad. This one actually could work. The Rangers have a few young defensemen coming up. Brendan Saad is a guy that only has 3 years left of the $6 million. Shattenkirk going to Chicago. Really, there's not a huge point in this deal, but we're talking in terms of value. 2 guys that probably are struggling a little bit right now with their contracts and in terms of point production. Shattenkirk's done a little more success with the Rangers in terms of production and standing out, where Saad really hasn't worked out in a top 6 role. especially last year. Between Montreal, Minnesota, and Toronto, this is a hot take three-way trade. Minnesota trading Spurgeon to Toronto, Toronto Kadri to Montreal, pulling to Minnesota. This would not work. I think this is a Montreal fan, obviously, key Habs. Not the value that Toronto would be looking for, not the value that Minnesota would be looking for. Spurgeon's a key piece for the Wild, and Kadri, as much as he struggled early on in the season, he is a key guy that scores 30 goals and gets hard matchups. So I don't think Toronto and Minnesota do that deal. Edmonton getting Ehlers, Myers, Little, and Vesalainen for Draisaitl, Lucic, and Puljujarvi. This is a huge deal, a huge blockbuster, and it's a little bit of a hot take. Don't think Edmonton does this deal, and I'm going to tell you why. Myers, expiring deal. Little, older, past his peak. Really, you can get a guy easily like that in free agency. Not easily, but let's be real. This comes down to the two key pieces in Ehlers and Draisaitl. For Edmonton, Draisaitl is very important to that team. I think he had a really rough year last year. Obviously, not a lot of people agree with the cap, but the cap's going up. That's where it's worth. I can't stress it enough. People are talking about going crazy over William Nylander at 8. Draisaitl, in my opinion, today is a better player than Nylander. Speed, maybe not there for Draisaitl, but he does a lot for that team. He's an overall really good centerman. He can play the wing. I think $8 million is fair for this guy, especially with the cap going up. And I know I might get heat for that, but that's my opinion. Liljegren and Nylander for Dumba and Greenway, Madeline Day 28 says. Not including Liljegren, maybe Nylander for Dumba is something both teams consider. Minnesota always want that extra offense. Their defense has been pretty decent, but at the end of the day, I would say more maybe on Minnesota side actually, because if Suter retires in a couple of years, gets slowing down, Spurgeon is not crazy young either. Dumba's probably their guy for the future, so I think Minnesota would be the first to say no. 78 Oil says we want Drouin, Galley for Puljujarvi. That is a joke. You're not getting Drouin or Galley for Puljujarvi, so sorry about that. Do not pick up the phone. You're not getting that. Puljujarvi is too much of a risk right now. He's no guaranteed, so not going to happen. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. This will be the segment for this week. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel. Like the video. Comment good or bad. Comment content suggestions. We want to hear from you. And comment what you guys think are good trade proposals, or in your opinion, a trade proposal that I can put on the next video. But thank you guys. This is John from Hot Take Hockey. Peace out.